goes a little something like.
Hi guys, if you're new, welcome. If you're not new, welcome back. The lighting's gonna be trash. I don't feel like getting my ring light, so I'm literally just using a lamp, and I didn't really try to get ready. So anyways, I am making a video today because if you know, or if you don't know, I went to beauty school at the beginning of last year and I ended up dropping out. In this video, I'm going to be telling you about things I wish I knew before I got into beauty school and my experience in it, and then like some advice I would give people who are kind of like having a tough time, just to encourage, you know, like give an understanding of why I dropped out. Why I'm no longer in hair school, and why I am pursuing the career that I'm pursuing now. In September of 2020, I decided that I was going to go to hair school because I've always liked doing my hair. My hair has been a crazy amount of colors. I mean, I've had it red. I had it red for a very, very long time. My hair was like this beautiful auburn red, and I had it that color for a very long time. My hair has been 4 different colors at once. It's been brown with blonde highlights. I had it black for a really long time, from about 2018 to around, I want to say, when did I finally like lose the black? Until around like April of last year. Like I had my black hair for a very, very long time, and I've always loved playing with my hair. Like I've always loved coloring it. I've always loved curling, flat iron, like whatever I could do to my hair, I'd mess with it. Like, you know, I could never get enough of it. So that was just me though, and like my friends knew me for that specifically. So I decided, hey, I'm gonna go to hair school. It's gonna be fun, you know, whatever. If you hear my goat screaming bloody murder, I promise to you, he is not in harm's way. He was left upstairs by himself, so now he's throwing a fit, all right? I promise to you, he's fine. He's just dramatic. That's the issue. Or I applied to the school that I went to, and for the love of God, if you know the school that I went to that's in the area, because you know me, please don't put it in the comments. Don't say anything about it, because I do not feel like hearing any bitching from this school. But it is a private institution, so their rules are very, very different than if you were going to like a community college for hair, like something like that. Like they're different. So a lot of the rules that we had to follow and a lot of the things that we had to do isn't typically what a community college would do. Community college, I feel, is a lot more lenient, which I wish I kind of knew going into that. Not like we really followed a lot of their rules anyways. I signed up for it in September 2020, and I ended up getting into the class, and I started in January of last year. My experience, so with the way that this program is set up and the way that this school is set up, you start in the beginners department. It's like for 2 months, your brain is just crammed with information, like literally crammed. It's back-to-back learning, like there's no stopping it, like, and it's a lot. It's kind of information overload in a sense. I found that the way they did it did help me a little bit, but there was other times where like I felt like I needed more time to learn just one thing instead of doing it for a day or two or doing it for a week and then moving on. So I felt like the beginners department should have been a little bit more than 2 months in a sense. I don't know. Maybe not more than 2 months, but we should have spent more time on some of the topics that we were talking about. Like the way that they did it, like you would have theory some mornings. So theory is basically like the kind of like the science behind it, or like whatever you want to call it. That's what it is. And cleaning procedures and stuff like that. So that's what theory is. So we would have theory some mornings, and then, you know, after lunch we would move on to like the hands-on activities. So for the first like week, I want to say that theory for like the first 2-3 days, and then after that we started moving on to hands-on procedures. So the first thing that I can remember us doing was like a hand washing thing, and then where they basically like sit in the bathroom and watch you wash your hands. Like probably the most awkward thing in the world, and even our instructor said it. She said, trust me, there's nothing more awkward than having to watch you wash your hands. But it's necessary, especially for state board. Then we moved on to like her talking about like how to wash a client's hair, you know, like scalp massages, all these different things you could do. And like she had somebody be like a model, and I think it was somebody from the advanced floor that was a model, but she had somebody be a model, and then we got to do it on other people. And I remember none of our class had talked to each other yet. Like, we had kind of like chit-chatted amongst ourselves, but it was never like actual conversations. And it was so funny because now we're all kind of being forced to like talk to each other. And I remember immediately off the bat I hit it off with 3 different people. It was hard for me because not only was I like the youngest in my class, but I also have like really bad social anxiety. So going into it, I was kind of like, oh, I'm gonna make no fucking friends. And so, you know, we got to do all that, and like I was really shaky. So I ended up hitting it off with 3 different girls. As it progressed, by the end of the week, I ended up making another friend who is still my friend now, and is my hairstylist now. So you know, she's the one who did the pink on my hair. Through those 2 months of the beginners department, I wish I wouldn't have been such a perfectionist, because I think that is definitely what held me back a little bit. I was a very big perfectionist, and if it was not the absolute perfect way that I wanted it to be, it was not good enough. My instructor tried to cram into our heads. She was like, now is not the time to be a fucking perfectionist. She was like, you're gonna mess up, you're gonna make mistakes, and now's the fucking time to do it. She was like, you're in the beginners, like, we're not expecting you to be great right off the bat, because, you know, if you don't have any experience in hair, how are you going to be great at it? Some of the main things that broke me down and gave me a severe mental breakdown during hair school were finger waves. If you don't know what finger waves are, I'll pop a picture of them up on the screen. And if I still have my first attempt at them, I will pop them up as well. And I literally, like, I broke down crying during finger waves. Like, it was so frustrating. And like, it looks easy. Like, when you see it, like, you see a picture of it, like, you're like, that can't be that bad. No. So with finger waves, you have to have like the perfect mix, like the perfect ratio of gel and water. If it's too much gel or too much water, it's not gonna work. And then you have to know how to move the comb. You have to know how to move, like, put your fingers in a certain place. Like, dude, it was so frustrating the first time around. I think by the second time I had to do it, though, I think it went a lot smoother for me. I didn't feel as like nervous to do it. So the second time I did finger waves was like towards the end of the beginners department, or my time in the beginners department. So, you know, once I did it, then I felt a little bit better about finger waves. And do I think I could do them now? Probably not. Could I attempt to? Yes, but I don't think I would be able to like succeed as well as I did in the beginners department doing it. Another thing that really broke me down, and I will say this, my face broke out in stress acne, was perms. Like, I'm telling you, if I would have continued my career as a hairstylist and I would have graduated and stuff like that, perms would have been the one service I refused to do. It would have been the one service that I would have said, no, you're gonna have to go somewhere else, because I don't do those. Like, I despised perms, which I think a lot of hairstylists actually do. I follow like 2 different hairstylists on TikTok, and they both don't do perms. And so like, it made me feel a little bit better knowing that. And also, my hairstylist doesn't do perms. She hates them. So I think it's just a mutual thing against, like, with the hairstylist community. We hate perms. Well, I'm not a hairstylist. I'm a dropout. But, you know, you get what I'm saying. So, like, perms broke me down emotionally. I was, like, exhausted. It's because, so with a perm, the way you have to do it, you have, like, the, what's it called? The perm paper, I guess. That's what I'm going to call it. And you have to do something with it, and then, oh my god, like, rolling it was such a fucking hassle. And then not only, once you got it rolled, you had to manage to get the rubber band to go across the thing, and then sometimes they would snap, so then you're sitting there looking at your friend like, help, 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 help. And then I got somebody yapping in my ear saying, do your own work. And then, like, I'm getting frustrated. So, like, perms caused a lot on me. And then it didn't help that during the time I was in hair school, COVID was still kind of, like, at a peak almost. Like, it was coming down, but it was still very relevant. We would constantly be out of school and on Zoom for COVID cases, because people would come to the school who had COVID, or somebody in our class would get COVID, or just something like that. So we would be on Zoom for like a week at a time, week and a half at a time. It kind of all depended on the circumstances. And it's also really, really hard to learn hair online. Like, it's tough. So like, when you're sitting there, you know, on a Zoom call, and they're like, oh, like, this is this. I am one of those people, I cannot focus during a Zoom call. I'm 10 times better learning online when I'm doing it kind of at my own pace. If I'm in a Zoom call, I tend to get very distracted, like, by the things around me. But, like, if I'm just looking at something and I'm just reading something, I'm fine. But I have to be working at my own pace. So that was also what kind of made hair school, like, difficult around that period of time. So we graduated the beginners department and we moved on to the advanced department, or the advanced floor. We moved to the advanced floor, and when you move to the advanced floor, you're migrating or integrating or whatever you want to call it with another class. So the class that was already on the advanced floor, they're set to graduate in probably like a month or two, or start graduating in like a month or two. So meanwhile, we're 2 months in and they're about maybe 6, 7, 8 months in. I'm gonna guess. No, they're like 4, 5, 6 months in. It's just like when you have to migrate with a whole bunch of people you don't know, that's also kind of stressful. And then there wasn't enough room on the advanced floor for us, so then we had to share stations. We had ghetto ass stations, like just regular tables, while other people had booths. I really think that favoritism was a big role in this school, because I noticed that a lot of my classmates, as soon as the station opened up, they would pick specific classmates to have a station. That was very, very frustrating in a way, because, you know, if you don't have your own station, like, it's just annoying. So I remember I was sharing a station with another friend, which I don't mind, like, sharing, but, like, at the same time, I'm definitely one of those people who has to have my own space all the time. Yeah, and it was like a table, like just like a school table, like that's what it was, like a desk almost. And it was so ghetto. There was no mirror. I was literally facing a window. There was no mirror for my clients to like look at their hair. One of my first client was supposed to be my friend Tristan. She ended up like oversleeping, so she didn't get to go do it. But my actual first client was my friend Jalen. She came and got her hair cut, and I remember just having her as my client made me feel so relaxed. And like I remember I was so nervous before she got there. Like I was like overthinking and like getting really anxious, but the minute she got there, I automatically felt better. Her hair ended up turning out beautifully, actually. I loved it, even though it was only like a slight change, but it was still gorgeous. Jalen's gorgeous, and I absolutely love her for letting me, you know, do her hair and practice on her. And I even tell her now, I was like, I still got a few tricks up my sleeve if you want to let me do your hair again. Because any chance that somebody's like, can you do my hair? I'm like, yes, I don't mind. Jalen was actually the only client I had during my time on the advanced department, because by the time we got out on the advanced floor, I dropped out about maybe a month later. And there was a lot of stuff that led to me dropping out. It was not just me being lazy, but I'll get into why I dropped out. Time goes on, and we had these things called pass-offs, which I feel like a lot of beauty schools do. So there were things you could do on your mannequin, there were things you could do on a human, like, and you could get a pass-off for it. So we would do those, but like I ended up getting in a funk one day, and I just wanted to go home. Like, honestly, I really just wanted to go home and lay down. I was just in a really bad funk, and I remember my instructor basically talking me off that ledge, and she was like, look, like, get your hair done, relax a little bit today, it'll be all right. So one of my other friends, she started doing my hair like shortly after lunch, and I remember that whole day, like, I was just like, okay. Like, I still didn't want to be there. Like, if I'm being honest, I still didn't really want to be there. This was kind of the beginning of me realizing, like, maybe this isn't for me. My hair ended up being this, so it went from the black box dye in it to this, which I'll pop up the pictures on the screen. I want to say that she lightened it one more time after that, and that's when it came out to like this like reddish kind, like very, very red color, because obviously I had that black box dye on my hair. There was a lot of like tones under it, you know. Here's like the beginning of my demise, because I was frustrated, utterly frustrated. I come in one day, I'm on the advanced floor or whatever. Number one, God forbid if you sat down. God forbid if you sat down, because if you did, it was the end of the fucking world. In reality, hairstylists are standing up for a long amount of time. You know, they're standing up for hours and hours and hours on end. But baby, we're in school, all right? We should not have to be standing up while we're like not physically working on a human client. Like, I don't care, you know. that's just how I saw it. By the end of the day, my back was like killing me, partially because I have terrible posture, also because I was forced to like stand up for fucking 12 hours a day. There was one day that I came in, I was working on my mannequin or doing something on my mannequin, I cannot remember. My instructor comes up to me, so we're gonna call her D. So D comes up to me and she's like, because I needed a root touch up because my roots looked terrible, so we were eventually gonna do a root touch up on me, but we didn't know when. Turns out that one of the girls who was about to graduate needed a chemical service pass off, like her last one, so she was gonna do it on me. And D comes up to me, she was like, go sit in Lily's chair. She was like, and she'll do your hair. Like, she'll do your root touch up. So I was like, all right. I got volunteered for this service. I was volunteered for this service. I did not ask them if this service could be done on me. All right, keep that in mind. So I go through, I get the root touch up and everything, or was it a root touch up or was it fucking like a root melt? I cannot remember. It was something like that though. If y'all went to school with me, correct me, but it was something like that. So she gets done with, you know, the service, and I go back to my station and I start like working on my mannequin a little bit more, and the end of the day is coming around at this point. So the other instructor that was there calls me over. We're gonna call her Sydney. So Sydney calls me over and she's like, why haven't you done any of your pass-offs? I haven't gotten time to do any of my pass-offs. Between me having that one client and then me getting my hair done the last few days and then her just doing the root touch-up on me, I was like, I really have not gotten time. And she was like, well, we're gonna put you in ISS, so you can't have any student-on-student services until you do your pass-offs. And I was like, hang on, back it up. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, I was volunteered to have that service done on me. I was like, when they told me they were doing my hair, it was because I was in a funk. I was like, I was again volunteered to get my hair done. So I'm not saying, well, I'm being punished for the actions of what you told me to do, what your faculty told me to fucking do. That pissed me off a little bit. I knew pass-offs were important. Like, it wasn't me trying to get out of them. But it was frustrating when I was just doing what my instructors told me and then I was being punished for it. Even after I voiced it, it was like nothing was done about it, and I was just like, alright, cool. But we were on Zoom or whatever, and I remember my friend calling me and she was like, it was like the day that we were supposed to come back in person, and I didn't come back because I just didn't feel like going that day. And she calls me and she goes, hey, you're on ISS. Like, you're on suspension. And I was like, for what? And she was like, I don't know. And I was like, alright, well. So I come back, and that's when I found out what I was on suspension for. And I can't even remember what I was on suspension for that time. I think it was attendance. A day or two goes by, and at this point, I'm kind of starting to realize this isn't for me. I'm not enjoying it here. I'm not enjoying what I do. I can't sit here 5 years from now and see myself being happy doing somebody's hair. Like, I can't see it. And at this point, the only reason I was really going was because of my friends, because they were the only thing keeping me going. I just wasn't enjoying it. Like, I had no motivation to do anything, like pass-offs, work. I didn't care. I decided that day that I was going to withdraw from school, and I remember my friend sitting in the office with me talking to one of the administrators, and she was getting like my withdrawal forms ready. Basically, one of the owners of the school comes in there. He was basically asking me like, did I want it to be private, or like was I okay with like sitting right there? And I was like, no, I want it to be like in private because I don't want everybody to like think I'm in trouble or something. He goes, okay, we'll keep it private. We'll go to the room where people do theory. I'm like, all right, cool. They're gonna walk me through the back. Nobody has to see me. And I know for a fact they did this on purpose, because this is how fucking petty this school was and how fucking obnoxious they were. They walked me through the advanced floor with administrators and made it look like I was in fucking trouble. So what does everybody automatically do? They're automatically going to the person I'm closest with at that school, and they're asking her what happened. They're asking her what's going on. And she tells them not to worry about it, like, because that's how she was. Like, I will say she was a very good friend, and she wanted me to be able to tell people myself. She wasn't gonna, like, ruin that for me. I'm automatically pissed off by the time we get to this back room, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, we get back there, they do a lot of trying to convince me to stay and telling me that, like, you know, if I just tough it out, blah, 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 blah. And I remember looking at them, I was like, I appreciate you guys, like, trying to talk to me. I was like, but you're not going to talk me out of my decision. I was like, I stand firm where I'm at. I don't want to be guilt tripped. I don't want to be told that I can tough it out. I was like, I've been trying to tough it out. I was like, and it's not working for me. I was like, this career path is not for me. And you're not going to change my mind. My mom's not going to change my mind. No one here is going to change my mind. And they're like, all right, well, if that's what you really want. So I think I, like, signed a paper or two, and then I went, I collected my stuff, I gave my hugs goodbye, and I did. I remember kind of leaving, almost feeling sad in a way, but also very, very relieved. I think I was more sad because I was kind of, like, leaving my friends, and I knew I wasn't gonna see them every day anymore. I ended up coming back and, like, continuing to support my friends who were in hair school. I helped with whatever I could, really. Like, there were days where I had nothing to do and I'd just come up there and sit and hang out, or I'd come up there and get something done to my hair. I was really, really supportive of my friends who were still in hair school, and I continuously told them how proud I was of them. And I was proud of them for, like, killing the fucking game, you know? I came up there and I watched my best friend graduate hair school, and now she's literally living where she wants, working at a really good hair salon, and she's killing the fucking game. And she has her own place and everything, so I'm super duper proud of every single one of those girls because they did absolutely amazing and they killed it. If there's anything I really take away from the experience, it's definitely that now is a really, really good time, especially, you know, between the age of, like, 18 to 21 years old. This is not the time to, like, settle down and make a hard and fast decision. It's definitely the time to change your mind and change your major and do it again and do it again and do it again. Because this is the time to make mistakes. This is the time to fuck up. This is the time to learn. And I brought a lot of really good knowledge out with me about my hair. I got humbled very, very quick in hair school when it came to box dye. I got very, very humbled. And it's now been around 2 years since I've touched box dye in my hair, and my hair is probably the absolute healthiest it has ever been. I literally don't think, I'm pretty sure I'd have no hair at this point if I never would have gone to hair school. Genuinely, I wouldn't have hair. As far as the school goes that I went to, like I said, it was a private institution, so they had different rules than other schools do. I felt that the staff could be very, very unprofessional at times. Camera stopped recording, but I felt like the staff was really unprofessional at times, so that could affect people. And then there were certain things that were very overlooked. Like, it was overlooked because I guess they saw it as, like, not their effing problem. Like, as far as the student, everybody I went to school with, though, like, everybody, like, all the students that were there were amazing. Like, they were all super nice. All of them were super welcoming. There was obviously drama. You have a school full of females. There's a lot of hormones flying around, a lot of, you know, lining up with each other, and then you mix that together, and for 10 months, there's drama between people. But I did make some really good, like, lifelong friends, and I'm so proud of them, dude. I literally can't express that enough. But the school is definitely 100% the reason I dropped out. I can't even make that up, because I just felt they were so unprofessional in some stances, and the way that I was treated in certain moments was very hurtful. And the way that the school was portrayed when I took a tour and when I looked online was portrayed in a very good manner. Like, it was too good to be true, and I learned that very, very quickly. And I'm pretty sure the rest of my classmates can attest to that. They can 100% back me up and say that I'm telling the truth. They have a very good base of knowledge. Like, they go the extra mile to teach you, for sure. Like, I really do think that they go the extra fucking mile. And they teach you more than a community college would. And it's easier to have one-on-one, like, learning there. But as far as some of the instructors go, they're very unprofessional and very rude, and especially with some of the owners. My advice to anybody who's going through hair school or going through beauty school or anything, be okay with making mistakes. Be okay with knowing your work is not always going to be perfect and that you have so much room to grow. And I remember the one thing that our instructor said was that about 80% of your learning is done on the floor. She said you only learn about 20% of what you need to know in the beginners, and then the rest of it you learn as your journey. You learn on your journey as a hairstylist. If you are in hair school, you got this. If you know that's your passion, do not let anybody, and I mean anybody, take away from that. Do not let anybody belittle you. Do not let anyone try to tell you that your work is not good enough. Hair school is hard. It's really, really hard. And I think that was one thing I didn't realize before going into it. Like, honestly, I did not realize how hard hair school was, and how much it takes to get through it, and how much hairstylists go through. I remember looking at, you know, some of my instructors right before I left and telling them, like, I have earned a newfound respect for hairstylists. Like, I never would have imagined that this is what it could take to become one, and I have just an overwhelming amount of respect for them. And I absolutely cannot stand it when people say that hairstylists overcharge, or they're doing this or they're doing that. You're paying for not only their labor, their experience, and their product. They're not overcharging. I hate to break that to you, but that was my experience in hair school and what I would do differently, or not what I would do differently, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to see more content like this, please like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to see my face a little bit more often, make sure you hit that little bell so you can get notified every single time I post, and I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.